Hey guys, today let's talk about Three Kingdom Tactics. Recently the game has announced the introduction of a full English speaking server, and while we know that there's a lot of Chinese tutorials and guides out there on the internet, there isn't a lot in English. So I'm going to try helping you guys out, especially on the getting started in the early days. So you may ask who I am and why you should listen to me. I'm a content creator and I go by the handle of Phoenix, and I've been playing Three Kingdom Tactics for the last over years already. So if you checked out my videos, you have seen I've got an account in server 10, I've got an account in server 137, and both of them are in season 7 and season 6. Oh, and if you don't know this by now, TKT, short for Three Kingdom Tactics, is a season-based game, and every season takes about 2 to 3 months before you enter the next season. Every season has its new features, new gameplay, and historical scripts, so it's going to be super exciting as you get to the later part of the season. So alright, today we will have a look on how to kickstart your TKT career and grow quickly as possible. When the first season begins, you will kickstart the starter phase. In this 48 hours, your goal is to quickly grow as quickly as possible. These 48 hours not only protects you from others, but also gives you a huge advantage when it comes to stamina costs, recovery time, land occupied, etc. I highly encourage you to actually take full use of this 48 hours. So if you want to go into the details of the starter phase on what it entails and compare it between the non-starter phase, this is a quick glance. So you get a discount of your use of your stamina. Your injury recovery time will also be shorter, land occupy time is faster, and resource refund is actually a lot more as well. Compared to when you exit the starter phase, you have no refund at all. So this is something that is for you to take note, which is going to be very critical as you plan for your next 48 hours. And you can also use this opportunity to test your teams, change formation, because during this period of time, you get full refund of your tactics points, as well as the full refund of your reserve troops as well. And this is going to be very critical. As you progress down the weeks and months, you will realize that tactic points is going to be very critical. It's something that you're going to need a lot more as you go into battles, as you start up your units, as you form more units. This is going to be super important. So next up, we talk about missions. So missions are kind of a tutorial in this game, and they are important for your early stage, because as you complete all these missions, you will be able to receive very lucrative resources, and it will help you in a long way when it comes to your development of your game, development of your cities, and your progression as well. If you are not sure in terms of what to do when you first started the game, just follow the mission through until you get to let's say chapter 12. There are actually some tricks that when you should actually claim your rewards, claim your resources to boost your growth. But this is actually a little bit more advanced, and I'll save that for the future videos. Next, we talk about units. So besides the tutorial generals such as all of these, your units will be heavily dependent on the number of times that you recruit over here, and also a lot of luck. And here are some of my favorite units, formations that I really love a lot and used quite a fair bit back then when I was playing S1. And on the screen we have the Greatest Spear of all, or other name for Healing Spear, 5 Tiger Spear, Taoyan Shield, Wei Rattan Shields, and Wu White Horsebow, or another word for Gan Tai Cheng. You can also pause the video to look at the tactics. These are all my favorite tactics. I've used them a lot when I was playing S1. And if you can actually get 3 out of the of what you see on the screen, you're gonna have a very smooth sailing S1. One of the most exciting part about this game is that, like chess, there is actually no one type of unit that is invincible. Even the strongest unit, such as the Healing Spear, has its own weakness as well. So even if you are not planning to spend as much, you can also enjoy this game. Having said that, unless you spend a little bit on recruitment, you will most likely be going into a situation where you're missing 1 or 2 generals, or you're missing one or two tactics based on the recommendations. But fear not, because as this game has a lot of ways of alternatives which you can consider, it's going to be too much for me to list them off them down on this video. So I'm going to recommend you to drop me a comments below on your any sort of questions, any sort of around formation, around tactics. Feel free to drop the comments down below and I'll definitely answer to your queries. Next, we talk about tiles and land resources. So tiles are what gives you resources in this game, and you need all these resources to your upgrades, to your conscription, etc. And the higher the levels of the tiles or the lands, the more resource you will receive. There are 4 types of resource in this game. So we have wood, iron, stone, and food. It's recommended that you focus more on stone and less on food in the early days, because you will really need a lot of stone for your building upgrades. And as you actually progress through mid-season, this is where you can start transiting from your stones to food and start increasing your food, because as you go into battles and combats, you definitely need a lot more food to replenish your troop. As the higher the levels of the lands gives you more resources, so does the difficulty to occupy them as well. You can almost say that every incremental levels has a double of the difficulties as well. So for example, if you talk about this level 3 land, this has about 2,400 troops. And then if you look at level 4 land, it's almost double. So the rule of thumb is that if you are already struggling with a huge loss for level 4 lands, don't even try level 5 lands unless your unit is at least level 23, 24 and above. In Econ, sometimes it is more cost effective to have a bunch of level 5 lands than trying for level 6 lands. Sometimes the additional 200 of resource that level 6 lands give you may not necessarily justify the troop loss that you have to sacrifice in order to occupy them. At all times, you have to keep your troop loss to the minimum, as your resource used to conscript them can be better used for upgrades, and resource is very important in early days. Next, let's talk about castles. Let's go to a castle right now. Right, this is what I call a castle. So in order for you to really experience this game, you really need to be in an alliance. For alliance to grow and expand, castles plays a vital role, as not only it generates extra resources when your alliance has occupied it, it also serves as a strategic rally point for your alliance member to deploy and move their troops at half of the time needed compared to normal marching without affecting any of your morale at all. When called upon, all alliance members should really make an effort to contribute to the alliance siege events, whether it's by sending your main troops or whether it's by sending your siege unit, because this game is really all about team effort. Next, we talk about recruitment. So this is actually how this game makes money at all. By spending on a goal to recruit officers and generals, you stand a chance to recruit a gold legendary officer, which in most cases are the strongest generals in this game. If your finances allow, please knock yourself out, and because you will soon realize the more you recruit, the more you'll become more and more popular among your alliance members, and more so your enemies, as they will try very hard to avoid facing you in a battle. And if you're a casual player, there's actually a lot of ways you can still enjoy this game, such as spending Sparta units to make your top players waste their stamina. I do still recommend you at least get the monthly cut, because they do actually offer a lot of value for money. Having said that, I've seen non-spending players having better generals than high spenders, so please, your discretion is advised. Lastly, this game is really not a pay-to-win game, because like a lot of different roles in battles, there's actually a ton of things you can do to contribute to your alliance from winning conquests. We definitely also need to talk a little bit about Sparta units, because Sparta are expendable units which normally has less than 1,000 troops, with very few clear goals in mind. For instance, most of the time it's really to mess around with your enemies. So imagine if you're using a Sparta unit to kind of deceive your enemy by sending their main unit, they would be actually wasting a lot more value because they are using their main unit's stamina while you're using a Sparta, which you can easily interchange them to your fit as well. So it's going to be very fun most of the cases, especially for non-spending players, to use Sparta to their disposal. Another good use of Sparta units is like what you see on the screen right now, which is really connecting all the tiles while saving up your main unit's stamina so that they can go for higher level lengths while you use your Sparta units to connect the tiles and pave the road for your main unit. And that's actually something that you definitely do it a lot of times in every season. That's really all for this video. If you really like this introduction video and would like to see more, especially around the formation of the units, tactics, feel free to consider subscribing to my channel, where I often stream every Tuesday and Saturday. My name is Phoenix, and I'll see you the next one. Happy farming.